probably the feeling. Sorry. Um, I would have intended, I still intend to speak to that recent accident, that accident this week with the PPS, and I would have compiled some clips which focus on the leader of opposition and his submission, though not um, intentional from the beginning, but was included in his delivery on the Copyright Bill 2025 that was brought to the House of Parliament. And he used that opportunity quite appropriately to speak to the matter of the PSB. I want first, if Dave could oblige me, to show that clip on by MP Bill Fred Abrams, Minister of Home Affairs and Information. That clip is only about uh, 3 minutes the most. Could we just show that? I am using that as an introduction to the discussion that will follow from me, please.
I want to say something because it was raised by the honorable member from the other side. And the impression was conveyed, sir, that this government is oblivious to what is going on with the ZR culture, and that because the music, a van turned over, and he is horrified and he's calling the government to do things, and that we don't care. So every single member of this government, sir, sympathizes and empathizes with those who were injured yesterday. Every single one of us. We had a discussion this morning, sir, before coming into this house, and all who were involved in the discussion, sir, were in horror at what led to it. And the general feeling was enough is enough. We have tried gentle persuasion. We have tried communication. We have tried meeting halfway. We have tried persuasion. We've tried everything. And the feeling of this government, and I believe it's going to be reflected soon, sir, is that the zero tolerance aspect now has to come. The Transport Authority was formed. They were given teeth to be able to bring heel to some of this. Legislation was passed to make the sector a bit more governable and less out of control than it was. But sir, I did not want to speak, but I thought it was irrelevant to this debate. But it having been raised and the charge having been laid at the feet of this government, the public of Barbados needs to understand that this government does not condone what happens in the PSB sector. We are aware, we have taken steps, we've tried all legal means to bring it to heel. And like the rest of Barbados, we are outraged at what happened, sir, yesterday. And I am sure consequences will flow from that. So for the honorable member to say,
Yes, go ahead, Mrs. Corbin.
Yes. Um, my comment here is that it had to take that incident, that accident, for this to be, for us to be told enough is enough. For us to be told that there will be consequences. Why wasn't it done before? Why, if they have been so concerned, why haven't they acted? Because right sitting there at the House of Parliament, we have that MP whose role seems to be react to everything that the leader of opposition says and claims everything to be not factual and untrue and misinformed. And you, Marcia, you have a name for him from the fairy tales that we would have read, but he demonstrated such angst against what the minister, the leader of opposition, would have shared. And I'm going to share that later. He did say further in the play that the Minister of Education was quite distressed. And in all fairness, I want us to bring balance and I want us to hear what the Minister of Education would have said. And that clip is only around 3 minutes. Could you show us that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, let me say at the onset how pleased I am that, first of all, there's no loss of life. That's my first thing I want to say. And of course, I'm here joined by the Chief Education Officer and the Principal of Leicester School. I was at the ministry when I got the call, but upon coming here at the scene, what is very clear, and it concerns me, of course, this is not to prejudice what is going on in terms of the investigation of our police, but to see that we have a public service vehicle here, off route, on a Monday morning, transporting our country's children to school is of significant, a major challenge for me. That's one. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing today is to be reaching out, of course, to the Ministry of Transport and Works and also the Public Service Vehicles Association, because it cannot be that our children are not safe when they ought to be. And I want to make it very clear that the time has certainly passed and perhaps now come that we must also relate how our students engage with the public service vehicles in Barbados. This is not a pronouncement of any policy, but I'm telling you, in the interest of our children and the interest of their safety, we must now make sure that law and order is, first of all, enforced, and two, have a conversation with our country. And parents, I want to encourage you, speak to your children when they leave home, cover them under the blood of Jesus. And I'm certain this morning this is a tangible manifestation of the blood of Jesus working, because this could have been absolutely worse, where the country this morning could have been in a state of mourning. Thankfully, we're not. But I also want to thank the ministry's response team and the education officers who are here, also our consular services who have been deployed to ensure that our students, not only who have been affected and of course gone off to medical facilities, but those students.
If we could pause there in the interest of time. Thank you. Yes. And again, they're hearing enough is enough. They've had ample opportunity to enforce the policy, enforce the law. They are so rushed to put punitive draconian measures on the Barbadian public with the BNP levy, the cybercrime bill, the communication bill, I can't remember, interception communication bill. They are in such a rush. Even we couldn't have anything more hastily done than that. The latest with the is it not the latest immigration freedom of movement amongst the partners, the other islands, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Barbados. They can hasten legislation and have them enforced so quickly. But something as important and at the safety of her children, they're dragging their feet and they're asking for reaching out to you, reaching out to delinquency and deviant behavior to have a conversation with them. One would have thought that immediately after that accident, that the house would have convened as an emergency and speak to that matter and send a message out there that this legislation, the banning of music on PSPs and that kind of behavior would be implemented sooner than later. And I want to endorse what the minister did say, that for me as a Christian, one would have said that, like I do pray every morning. I pray every morning for the children going to school and they're traveling on those PSPs. And I don't have grandchildren. And my relatives, when they go to school, they are taken to school by their parents. So this concerns me. But let's quickly get to
Well, let me say something, Mrs. Corbin. Can you hear me, Mrs. Corbin? Can you hear me?
Agitated by what the leader of opposition said. Marcia?
Yes, I was telling you that we started with you a little late only because of the technical things. There is, I don't know if it's your fan that is coming through, and through the technical, we have to get your technical sorted out because we're not hearing you clearly. There's a crackling coming through. What we're gonna do, we're going to let's do this another 5-6 minutes, and then we set aside a time to work on your technical because something is off there. There's a crack in the mic.
It's turned off the fan.
Okay.
It's in the piece, but the leader of opposition used the term yesterday, disequilibrium and off balance, and it seems as though that we're having some real major disequilibrium. Her laptops weren't working, all the above. So is it better now?
Yes, it's a bit better. It's a bit better. So
all right. Do we have time then to
go up to
the
8:33.
part, if not all, of the leader of opposition to say if he did say anything that was not appropriate or offensive? Do we have that time?
Can you repeat that, Mrs. Corbin?
I did ask, do we have time left that we could show ourselves what the leader of opposition said that caused
I understand the question
Minister Abrams
we have six more minutes before Apostle Scantlebury come on, because we've gone into his time because of the technical problems. So yes, you have a clip, right, that Dave could play?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes.
So I am challenging this government today, since he put me in this mood. I am now going to challenge this government today to restore, not literature now, because the literature is pretty much settled. And if it is not settled, we as a parliament must have enough courage to sway young writers, whether they're writing books or calypsos, to write in a manner that uplifts little children in this country. Must we be afraid to say that? Must we seek popularity and forsake principle? I know we are politicians and we all want to be loved and to gain success at the polls. But do we have a moral responsibility to pause in our quest for success at the polls and say to our musicians or literary people, whether they're writing books or calypsos, and say to them, look, do exercise some sense of responsibility that what you write really should uplift and not degrade. I have said it in here before, and I say it again, abiding by principle and not in any quest for popularity, because the future of this society remains at stake. When we as a parliament cannot say to young people, well, you know, sometimes what you write is not doing this society much good. And I referred to those 80 teenagers in prison because they have emerged from a society that is now characterized by levels or domains of decadence which may have influenced their path towards that prison. That if a child gets on a public service vehicle at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and hears lyrics from a calypso, and this is whether the van turns over or not, because some of the vans turning over physically, but morally they're turning over every day. Morally they gone, can't take it. Can't take it. We gone.
Honourable Member, continue, please.
Yes, let him go. So that we're talking about copyright, the right to create, the right to monetize that creative effort, the right to have that creative effort protected by the copyright laws. And while the copyright laws may protect it, who is protecting the audience? Who is protecting the young child on the public service vehicle who is led to believe that social interaction is about violence and sex? That is the point. That is the point. That while the copyright laws are protecting them and while they are monetizing their creative effort, there is a moral deficit that is suffered by young people in this country. Are we afraid to say that in here? I'm not afraid to say it. I have to live in this society. And I don't personalize my parliamentary discourse, but the overwhelming majority of us here are parents. You mean we are going to seek political popularity and abandon our responsibility as parents, as teachers, all for the sake of material gain when there's a vast moral loss that is suffered by this society when a little 6-year-old is getting on a public service vehicle and all that he can hear is sex and violence, and sometimes there's no distinction between the two because sometimes the sex sounds like violence and the violence sounds like sex. And that is not a worthy topic, that is not a relevant topic in the context of copyright. They can leave again. That is what is happening in Barbados. And anybody who doesn't want to hear the discussion, they're forfeiting their right to a public audience. I say so. They are forfeiting their right to a public audience if they believe that the degradation and the descent, the moral descent that has been made in this society at the hands of men who believe that they're creative, they forfeit the right to an audience. I say so. And telling me about relevance, this is no discussion to be sanitized behind legality nor technicality. There's a deep problem in this society, and that deep problem is affecting young children. And all of us are here parents, whether natural or adoptive, we are parents, and we join the other parents of this society and enter into solidarity with them that this problem must come to an end. It must come to an end. This society must correct the degradation of relationships between children. When we were at school, we didn't go into an environment that is present in the schools now. Some of us were walking to school 3 miles. Some of us were on public service vehicles without music. You go to Washington, London, New York, Toronto, and you catch a bus or a train, you don't hear any filth in your ear. Why is it that you get on a PSV in Barbados and you have to hear music? Why? It is there to transport people, not to entertain people. And it is not entertainment, it is degradation. Who will have the courage in here to say that today? One voice. If any of the members of the government join in this discussion, I challenge them to say what is the government's position on it. And silence will be acquiescence in a social problem that is afflicting this country. When our young children on the way to school, Your Honor, on the way to school, afflicted by filth. And telling me about relevance? Get with it, my friend.
Because could go to Parliament TV and listen to it. I think the message is ours, what he would have said. Can you hear me, Marcia? That the message conveyed there is very much the message of all of us. And when the public joins you, those who are not afraid to join you, we are amongst the things that we are working for is to return to equilibrium from this state of disequilibrium in society, from this state of decadence, from this state of negligence, because enough is enough. They are saying it. Wilfred Abram makes it delinquent, seem to be delinquent on the part of the leader of opposition to speak in this matter, to this matter. That is why, Marcia, I started with the reprimand from Mr. Abrams, MP Abrams, and asked, what is it so wrong that Mr. Thorpe would have said? I'm sure, Marcia, you've been saying the same thing. I've been saying the same thing. Shaquani, as a young person, would agree with this. And it is not because this is her political leader, but it is a principle drawn to the Barbadian public. And so we're saying enough is enough. And how soon will you implement the safeguarding and safety measures? And I conclude with reminding the public, if we had time, you will see that last slide that I sent, that in 2018, Mission Critical demonstrated by the BLP in their manifesto issued on the 11th of May 2018, that by September that year, they would have had safe and reliable school transportation for our students. As Shaquani asked and you asked, what has happened with the monies that we have borrowed. They boast on the garbage truck that they brought in. Still, garbage is not collected in a timely fashion. They boasted on the buses, and we're hearing that the buses are small. They cannot hold passengers, as many passengers as before. But where is, look, it's there into Elia amongst the mission critical things identified to be implemented ASAP. And with it said here, ensure a reliable and timely school bus service. And from September 2018, placing safety officers on buses and at places where students and young people congregate in large numbers. And who do we have there? The Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. I'm not sure, it's the Deputy Prime Minister responsible for transportation. What is happening here? But they can go around and rename buildings like the one that they're changing from Parkinson Community Center into the name of the Deputy Prime Minister, who in several speeches said that she would vindicate her father's name. And that is what we've seen now with the renaming of the Parkinson Community Center. Nepotism. We are seeing neglect. We're seeing negligence. Please, it would seem as though Mr. Abrams has not studied that 2018 manifesto to see right in there they talked about reliable and timely school bus service. It would seem that Mr. Chad Blackman, the Minister of Education, Transformation, whatever they call it, did not study that either. And so, where are the security officers? Where are the safety officers that should be at those places where these wayward children congregate and wait for that kind of transportation to school and joyride? We had Mr. Boyce, the Chief Education Officer, who used to be in the bus stand. We had Mr. Laurie King, a friend of mine, a Chief Education Officer, who used to be in the bus stand, and children was curried to school. But now we have a Minister of Education who is at every photo op, every PR op, every meeting, and then calling the press to speak euphemistically about what the Ministry of Education intends to do. I want to see immediate responses that safeguard our children, ensure that they have that reliable and timely school bus service, which was lauded and promised in a 2018 manifesto, and 7 years later, we don't see it. As well as after the fact, instead of coming out and give us definitive solutions and implementation of these policies and programs, they're saying enough is enough, and they are engaging and dialoguing with persons whose behaviors are deviant and try to engage them. It's not about engaging, it's about intercepting, it's about intervening and ensuring as far as possible that what we witnessed and experienced just this week will not happen through recklessness and deviant behavior. And I borrow from them. Enough is enough.
Yes.
Keep your promises. Keep your promises, Marcia, because like you began, there are some of us, including me, who, like Daniel, Shadrach, and Abednego, refused to eat the meats that were offered to the Babylonian gods and refused to drink the wine that was offered to the Babylonian gods. Enough is
Yes.
enough.